5 psychological tricks that work on anyone. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you really needed someone to agree with you or go along with your idea? Maybe it was trying to convince your partner to go to that new restaurant you've been wanting to try, or getting your coworker on board with your proposal for a new project. Whatever the scenario, we've all been there, wishing we had some psychological superpowers to nudge people in our favor. Well, good news! Today, I'm sharing 5 psychological tricks that can work on just about anyone. Before we get into the tricks, though, let me ask you this. Have you ever felt a sense of connection with someone just because they happen to be doing something similar to you, like nodding their head or using the same hand gestures? It's a phenomenon known as mirroring, and it's actually one of the tricks we'll cover. Before we jump in, please hit the subscribe button for more content like this. Thanks. All right, let's start with trick number 1, the Benjamin Franklin effect. This trick is based on a story about Benjamin Franklin himself. He wanted to win over a rival, so he asked the man to lend him a rare book from his library. The rival happily agreed, and after that small favor, they became great friends. This principle works because when somebody does a favor for us, no matter how small, we subconsciously feel a need to think more positively of them to justify the helpful behavior. It creates a sense of obligation and consistency in how we view that person. Next up is trick number 2, mirroring behaviors, which we briefly touched on earlier. By subtly mimicking someone's body language, tone, and mannerisms, you build unconscious rapport and likability. Scientists believe mirroring taps into our innate human tendency to prefer people who show similarities to ourselves. It's a technique we all naturally use when hitting it off with a new friend or romantic partner, so why not employ it strategically? Trick number 3 is using the magic word because. Psychologist Ellen Langer found that simply giving a reason, even an uninformative one, makes people much more likely to follow an instruction or request. For example, in her study, people were far more willing to cut in line for a copy machine when the request included the word because. The phrase because I need to make copies worked way better than just saying, may I use the copy machine? Adding because seems to trigger people's automatic tendency to obey legitimate authorities. Now trick number 4 is all about framing and anchoring. If you want someone to agree to something, first present an even more extreme version so that your real ask seems much more reasonable by comparison. For instance, a realtor might first show you an overpriced house you'd never consider, so that the next listing seems like a great deal and shifts your perspective on pricing. This exploits people's tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information offered when making decisions. Finally, trick number 5 revolves around reciprocity and obligation. The trick is to offer a favor, gift, or service before making a request, not after. Research shows we feel a much stronger psychological pull to return the favor than if someone did something nice for us after we complied with their ask. That indebtedness creates an unconscious pressure to repay the kindness, so doing the first nice deed is key. Now, you may be thinking, whoa, these sound a bit manipulative, and you're not wrong. Any psychological principle can be unethical if misused. But these are also all techniques we organically employ in our everyday interactions, often without realizing it. The key is being mindful and only using them with positive intentions that do not harm others. So there you have it, 5 psychological party tricks you have up your sleeve. Use them wisely to increase your influence at work, strengthen your relationships, or just get your way every once in a while. Let me know if you try any of these out.